Hey everybody, this is Maxine Taylor with my Trumpology report for July 2019. And it's a big month. Many of you already know this because you study astrology. For those of you who may not, let me tell you what's going on ahead of time. Mercury, the planet of communication, correspondence, and transportation, is going retrograde. And when Mercury goes retrograde, it appears to be moving backwards in the heavens. It's not, but it appears that way. And that's how it feels on planet Earth. We do not start new projects on a retrograde Mercury. Instead, we tie up the loose ends of unfinished projects. Mercury, we start feeling the retrograde Mercury about 2 weeks beforehand. And if you haven't watched my video, Retrograde Mercury, the prequel and the sequel, you might want to do that because I explain all about retrograde Mercury. Mercury will go direct. That means it will come out of retrograde between the 31st of July and the 1st of August. Yay! But we're in the shadow of the retrograde Mercury, which I explain on that video, till the 15th. Okay. I'm going to be sharing what this means in Trump's chart with you in a minute. We also have 2 eclipses this month. Whenever we have an eclipse, things happen. They are major turning points in our lives. And my suggestion is that you might want to take advantage of my summer special, which covers July through the end of the year for you personally. Go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com. It's all there. Okay, let's talk about Trump. And I want to get all my information in front of me because I've got so much to share with you. First of all, as the sun circles the zodiac, in Trump's chart right now in July, it is in his 11th house of groups and friends, and hopes and wishes. It's a very humanitarian house. However, in Trump's case, the group can be Congress. It can be friends, whether here in the United States or abroad. And this is a very important house, I think, for the person who wants to create friendship across the globe. In Trump's chart, there's a lot going on here. Let's start, first of all, with the very, very beginning of the month. We have a solar eclipse, and it sits in Trump's 11th house. And this means that his area of friends and group activities of all sorts, that is what is activated. The 11th house also deals with other people's children. And as you know, my big thing is I really want those kids out of those cages, and I want them returned to their families. That may be asking for more than Trump is able to deliver, but this is my 11th house hope and wish. So the solar eclipse sits right on Trump's Mercury, the blue planet. Mercury, of course, is communication, talking to people, sharing ideas with people. And so what Trump is doing is talking to everybody. He's communicating with people. He's telling folks what he wants. This is a wonderful time for him to visit friends or to entertain friends from other lands. But I do think that we're talking here about his personal friends and, again, about Congress. We will feel the effects of the eclipse about a week ahead, which means we're feeling it right now. This is the end of June when I'm recording this. And so what is activated is more talking on Trump's part to all the people he considers to be friends. Now you might say, well, he's doing rallies now, and that's the truth. He is doing rallies now, and those are the groups to which he is appealing also for their votes. This is a very big eclipse. 2 weeks later, on July 16th, on the full moon, we have the lunar eclipse. Now, on the solar eclipse, that's when things start moving forward. So there's communication, there's talking, there's chattering, there's all kind of communicating, whether it's in front of the camera or not. On the full moon, everything comes to a head. And this eclipse is July 16th. It's in his 5th house of children and sex and gambling and speculation. And it's on his vertex, which is his karmic role in life. Just today or yesterday on the news, another woman came forward and talked about how Trump had assaulted her 20 some odd years ago. We may be hearing more about these assaults, these sexual moves that he's making on women, because it's the 5th house. This can also deal with his children, whether they're having to come forward speaking before committees. But this is also the house of fun and games. And I'm not talking about golf necessarily, although that comes into the mix, but it's all about having fun. Now, this particular eclipse is in opposition to 2 of his 11th house planets. When you have an opposition, there is a pulling away from, a separation from, or a balance. In this case, it is probably a separation from, because of the opposition he has from many Congress people. All right, let's look further. As the sun moves into his 11th house a little further, on the 16th, it sits on Saturn. That's the brown planet. And Saturn is, it can be very restrictive. It is the authority figure. And so this is him speaking as the authority figure to the authority figures in his groups. That would be Congress. That would be anybody who he considers to be a friend. And he has friends with leaders of different countries. And some of those leaders have not been our friends in the past, which would indicate that there would be a pulling away from them, perhaps, on the full moon. However, as the sun moves to the 11th house, he's speaking to those in authority, particularly on the 16th. And on the 18th, the sun sits on Venus. Venus is the planet of love and money and all good things. And so there is Trump feeling really good about his friends. So to me, it says that this is not just about friends, but about his career as well, because Venus rules Taurus, which is on his midheaven. And so we're talking about feeling very good, him feeling very good about his public image with his friends and as a result of friends. Now, on the 24th, the sun moves into his 12th house of behind-the-scenes activities. It also rules hidden enemies. It rules everything that we don't see and we don't know about. So this is him pulling back and retreating. Now, you might say, that doesn't happen very often. No, it doesn't. But this is a regrouping, a reorchestration. It is a planning. The 12th house deals with hidden enemies. It deals with institutions. It deals with just pulling away from the ongoing activity. Okay. On the 31st, this is very interesting. On the 31st, we have a new moon. And that is a new beginning. However, that new moon, I hope you can see it. I've written it in green here. There's a lot going on. It sits on Pluto. Pluto in the 12th house. Pluto is the planet of control or transformation. Out with the old, in with the new. Off with his head. And so the new moon can bring a good deal of that into play that we will not necessarily see or know about. I'm showing it to you here. Now, it also indicates the desire to be in control behind the scenes. And Pluto can be the planet of retribution, vengeance, depending on how the person uses their Pluto. Pluto can be total transformation, or it can be I'll never forget what you did. I'm going to get you back. Don't get angry, get even. And so by the end of the month, there is a great deal of pulling back. Yeah, there's fun, but there is lots of intense control going on with hidden enemies. Let's talk about Mercury retrograde. Well, Mercury, I told you, when it's retrograde, everything is confused. It starts off in Trump's 12th house. So there's a lot of behind the scenes activities. There is confusion. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, perhaps. And on right around the 16th and 17th, Mercury backs up in its retrograde motion into the 11th house. Once again, lots of communication. It sits on Saturn, once again, the authority figures in his friendship circle, and it also sits on Venus, which is love and all things positive. And because Mercury is getting ready to go direct, somewhere between the July 31st and August 1st, right in that time period, Mercury sits on Saturn and Venus, making plans, talking about things, but nothing is settled until after Mercury comes out of retrograde, which it will do, as I said, between the 31st and August 1st, or at the end of the shadow period. The shadow of the retrograde Mercury ends August 15th. So the 25th through the 31st, Mercury is talking to people, trying to get things organized, orchestrated, but it's retrograde. Good luck on that. Okay. Now, Venus. We've talked about Venus. Let's keep talking about it. Venus is the lesser benefic. It is love. It brings happiness wherever it goes. It lifts things up. It's love, it's money, it's beauty. And it starts off in Trump's 10th house. And he's been feeling really, I won't say beautiful, but he's been riding the crest of the wave. He's been having rallies. And so his public image is looking good, according to him. Remember, this is his chart, the way he sees it. On the 3rd of July, day after the solar eclipse, just before Mercury goes retrograde on the 7th, Venus, the planet of love, moves into his 11th house. We've got lots of 11th house for Trump this month. And it brings lovely ideas when it sits on Mercury on the 10th. Lovely communication, positive communication. Venus on Saturn reminds people of their loyalty to him as a friend on the 22nd. And we have a Venus return on the 24th, which says that at that point in time, at that day, he's going to feel pretty good about his accomplishments with his friends, with groups, etc. And then on the 29th, Venus moves into the 12th house. And so love, positive things take place behind the scenes, working things out privately. Interestingly enough, I want to throw something in here that astrologers know. It's called the chart within a chart. The 10th house is the career. The 11th house is the money from the career. And this may come up for grabs because the solar eclipse is on Mercury in Trump's 11th house, which is the second from the 10th. I hope that's not too complicated. This is the career. This is the money from the career. That is triggered by the sun. It is also triggered when Mercury goes direct. it is also triggered by Venus, which is money. And Venus being the lesser benefic, Jupiter is the greater benefic. It's a very positive aspect. Okay? Just want to throw that in. Now, last planet I want to talk about is Mars. Mars is action. Mars is energy. Mars is war. Wherever Mars is what you fight with or fight for, or both. And it is in his 12th house all month of behind-the-scenes activities, hidden enemies, institutions of all kinds, crimes, criminals, prisons, hospitals, all that good stuff. With Mars there, he is, remember, he's showing his friendship face, but Mars is saying, I will get you back. It's sitting on Pluto on the 17th. And this is the all or nothing Pluto. Mars on Pluto fires up Pluto's need for control, for annihilation, for all or nothing. Now, in the highly evolved individual, Pluto is the planet of transformation. It's the phoenix rising on its own ashes. Pluto goes from one extreme to the next. This is totally hidden. And if on the 17th, Mars sits on Pluto, what else sits on Pluto this month? The new moon. I cannot read my handwriting, the very, very end of July, the 31st. And so there is all this wonderful 11th house, and then all that muck and mire being aggravated and activated. And there can be retribution. And once again, it's all hidden. Will it come out in the wash, so to speak? Yes, it could. Absolutely could. But not while Mars is in the 12th. Not while the sun is in the 12th, or Mercury, or Venus. 12th house, private, hidden from view. So keep in mind that eclipses are strongest 3 to 4 months after they occur. So October and November, these very same eclipses are going to come back in full force. And I will, of course, talk about that. So I think that's all I have to share right now on Trump. It's going to be powerful. As we move forward, by the way, into 2020, things are going to get more and more intense. The first half of 2020, not so much. The second half, quite a bit. I'm probably going to be offering my specials at that time so that you can have your own roadmap of how to proceed in your own life, how to navigate all the aspects that we will be going through, all of us, all over the world. So I'll be there. I'll share everything I know with you. So till next time, dear friends, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Bye for now.